reporting?
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
My dog went flying through the air over the trees. I don't know how it did it.
From baffling missing 411 cases that leave us questioning reality to the elusive and legendary creatures like Bigfoot, we are here to discuss it all.
By God, if a hand come from the other side of that fence, grab this thing by the head and neck, I mean, just one-timed it.
1 o'clock in the morning, I'm awakened by lights. Bright lights. I'm talking about, Josh, the lights were so bright, it looked like daytime, so I thought it was the morning.
You know, there's just something going around, attacking our sheep. And my grandma used to talk about this guy, Ketso, that means, Bigfoot in our language, so.
If you have ever found yourself captivated by the unexplained or intrigued by the mysterious, you are in the right place. Welcome to Mysteries Unknown. Happy New Year's, everybody. Welcome to another live from Mysteries Unknown. Got my co-host here with me, Daniel. What's up, buddy?
What's up, dude? Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's. Also, guys, it's Happy New Year's, but it's also Daniel's birthday. So anybody wants to sing him happy birthday tonight or wish him happy birthday in the chat, make sure to do that, man. Happy birthday, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to spend New Year's with you and with everybody out here tonight in your birthday. But hope everybody's doing good and had a good New Year's. We got a really good show for you guys tonight. It's been a while since we've done a live, but we're back. And so we're going to be doing another missing 411 in the correlation to possible Bigfoot, some of these sightings. And I know Daniel's got a lot of stuff, a lot of stories for you guys. We're going to be doing some Bigfoot encounters as always, maybe some Dogman, and just hanging out and catching up with everybody. It's been a minute, but I hope you guys are all doing well. Got some new people in the chat. So Following Jesus 24 is here. He says happy birthday, Daniel, or they say happy birthday.
I see that. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Frida says, hey, Frida, she says happy birthday. So a lot of happy birthdays. Michelle's good to see you. Let's see here. Sorry to hear about your family. I think, you lost a family member. I'm very sorry to hear that. Hopefully this show will give you some distraction, and we'll be praying for your family. I know that's not an easy thing at all. Let's see Rob. What's up, Rob? Justin, good to see you. Janet, good to see you. They're all saying happy birthday, man.
Yeah.
So,
we got Justin Maynard in. I talked with him the other night. Him and Steamboat were going out doing a little thing. So
that's awesome.
Justin's going to try to hook me up with somebody. So it's going to be great.
Oh, cool, man. Cool. No, that'll be good. That'll be good. Guys, if this is your first time to one of our lives, man, me and Daniel both have our own shows. Of course, this is Mysteries Unknown, and then he has the Crypted podcast, and we come on here and do these lives. Every Monday, I drop a brand new episode with a real person, a real interview. And I don't know that you got your schedule set up yet, but I know that you are dropping episodes every week. So real counters, real first person encounters. So you guys, if you like that kind of stuff, then you're at the right place. So we got a good show for you guys tonight, though. But let's jump right into kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. And we will be right back.
Tonight on Mysteries Unknown, could there be a link to the missing 411 phenomena and Bigfoot? So many disappearances without a trace. Eerie patterns in the wild. Could the legend of Sasquatch hold the key? Or is there something more sinister lurking in the shadows? Stay tuned as we journey deep into the unknown.
So that's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about tonight. But you excited for the show, man?
I am. Before we get started, I just want to give my deepest condolences to Janet. Janet lost her mom yesterday.
Yeah, that's really hard, Janet, and I am very sorry. We are all praying for you, and we're behind you. And that's a loss that's never you're never going to be the same after that kind of loss. My mom has been in the hospital and, almost lost my wife this year. And so, that's a hard part of life, but we will be praying for you. And, if you need anything from me or Daniel, please reach out. We're here for you. So I'm glad that you're here hanging out tonight, and I hope that brings you some distraction. And we got a lot of people in this community to be praying for you for sure. So yeah, we're here to back you up.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. Yeah. So that's the cool thing about our community. We've developed a really good community of people, and we're all here to support each other. So, that's part of life that is really hard, man. And it's just, prayer is the only thing I know that'll get you through that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But, man, tell me a little bit about some of the stories you've got for us tonight. I know I've got a couple of, missing 411 stories, and guys, we're going to, start this off by saying we're not in any way, shape, or form saying that Bigfoot and missing 411 are 100% connected, but we want to try to get you guys to think about that. And some of these in cases, it makes you wonder, because the strange circumstances that are around these things and these cases, there's got to be more to these stuff than just people walking off in the woods and wandering off, man. But what are your thoughts on that, man? What do you think, Daniel?
Well, I mean, just like you said, your preference, and we are at absolutely no way, shape, or form saying there's a direct correlation with missing 411s and cryptids. There's always a possibility. If anybody says there's zero chance of possibility of something like this happening, then they're just lying to themselves. But a lot of stuff is just too coincidental. There's overlaid maps of missing 411s and sightings of cryptids. So yeah, I mean, it's foul play is done. Sometimes the person who's missing is dealing with mental issues. There's a whole host of things that go on. So
yeah, there's a lot. And so
if there's a possibility, there's a possibility.
There's always a possibility. It's like in Dumb and Dumber, what is he saying? So you're telling me there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
There's always a possibility. But we're excited to hang out with you guys tonight and get into these stories, man. But we're going to be talking about some Bigfoot encounters, a couple of Dogman encounters. So we got some good stuff lined up for you tonight. So hang out with us while we do these lives. And just if you're new to the chat, if you're new to the channel, please let me know in the chat. Hit us up. If you've got an encounter you would like to send me, you can always send it to me by email at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. Would love to have you on the show. But, man, what story you got for us first, man?
Well, I've got missing 411s. I didn't look up any Sasquatch stories, but I can always find some.
Oh yeah, I got a couple, man. I think that it's always interesting to talk about these, break these down, and then maybe talk about what could have happened. But yeah, so we'll get into all that, man. But let's jump right into it, man. I'm ready to hear these stories.
So this one's called, this is the case of the disappearance of Terrence Woods Jr. The Penman Mine in Nez Perce National Forest, Idaho, October 5th, 2018. Terrence Woods, 27, was a talented television production assistant from Maryland, a graduate of the American University. He worked internationally on productions, including in London. Described as personable, kind, and passionate about storytelling, Terrence was part of a film crew for Raw TV, a British company working on a documentary for the Discovery Channel. The project focused on abandoned mines in remote locations. Terrence was working with a crew near the Penman Mine, a rugged and remote area of the Nez Perce National Forest. At around 5:30 p.m. October 5th, 2018, Terrence reportedly ran down a steep embankment into the forest. Witnesses described his departure as sudden and without explanation. Crew members called after him, but received no response. The search and rescue teams, including dogs, helicopters, and local volunteers, combed the dense forest for Terrence. The terrain was steep and challenging, which complicated the efforts. Despite extensive search, no trace of Terrence had ever been found. So here are the key details and theories. Number one, mental health struggles. Prior to the trip, Terrence had told his family he wanted to leave the television industry. Some reports suggest that he may have been dealing with personal or professional stress. His sudden dash into the woods has been speculated as possible mental health crisis. Number 2, foul play. The remote location, lack of physical evidence, and absence of his body have raised suspicion of foul play. Some have questioned the actions of the crew, and the timeline of events leading up to his disappearance. Number 3, the Nez Perce National Forest is a vast and treacherous with steep cliffs, wildlife, and rivers. It's possible he became lost or succumbed to the elements. Number 4, voluntary disappearance. Although highly unlikely, some have speculated that Terrence may have wanted to just simply disappear. His family strongly disputes this theory, emphasizing his love for them and plans to return home. Number 5, the missing 411 phenomenon. The case aligns with patterns noted in David Politis' missing 411 research, sudden disappearance in wilderness areas, no physical evidence, and odd circumstances. His disappearance occurred in the same forest where Connie Johnson vanished just days earlier, adding to the mystery. Per the family, Terrence's parents have expressed frustration with the investigation, believing in lack of urgency and thoroughness. They reject any notion that their son ran away or intentionally disappeared, emphasizing his close ties to family and friends. To this day, they continue to seek answers and advocate for further investigations. This is still an unsolved mystery. Terrence Wood Jr.'s disappearance remains unsolved. The lack of evidence combined with the isolated location and mysterious circumstances leave his case open to speculation and interpretation.
You know, the thing about that gets me is the fact somebody else is going missing like that in the same area. That's just really strange to me. You know, that's not a coincidence. There's got to be something more to that, you know? I mean, that's just, I don't know, man. What do you think about that? What do you think?
Well, I am going to come straight out and say I do not think that this is has anything to do with a cryptid. Just reading reports and dealing with people who have mental issues or suffering mental breakdowns, they tend to be very sporadic. And he just may have found that this is the time that he needed to be free. And I'm not saying he did anything bad to himself, but I think he might have succumbed to exposure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably what happens most of the time, you know, exposure, things like that. But, you know, it just kind of makes you wonder with these cases, you know, why people do what they do. You know, both of us coming from law enforcement backgrounds, we've seen people do some things that just, you know, doesn't make sense, make you scratch your head. But, you know, I would say that there's a good percentage of these things that, you know, people wander off, they just get lost, and then, you know, they never get found, or, you know, if they do get found, it's years later. But I don't know. It's kind of weird to me, though, that, you know, the mental health does play a big part, but it's weird to me that somebody else went missing in the same area. You know, did they say exactly when that was or what time? Did you find that out?
His disappearance was at 5:30 on October 5th.
Okay.
I believe it was October 5th. Let me check here real quick. Yeah, October 5th. And then I could read Connie's. She disappeared in the close to the same location.
Wow.
Just 3 days prior.
That's pretty wild, man. That's strange. So I don't know if you know off the top of your head what makes a missing 411 case, what the parameters are of that. Do you know what that list is? I've forgotten. I had it wrote down somewhere, but
well, it's let's see here. It's location near like water,
boulders, right? There's boulders.
Lack of physical evidence.
Yeah.
At the time of the disappearance. I
think there's a storm. Yeah,
adverse weather. adverse weather is one. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Areas where there is, if they do find a body, that area they found the body was prior searched. Lack of dog, like tracking dogs picking up scent, things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff out there. And David Politis does a phenomenal job. He is the guy when it comes to these. And man, he's put in so much work with this. Oh, National Forest. It's in a national park a lot of the times, which is really odd. I think that's what kind of sparked all this off for him, trying to figure all this stuff out, is because of the national parks. But I got to give a shout out to Taff the Wonder. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see everybody out here tonight. Carl says, Daniel, don't make the stories too scary because he's jumping enough with all the fireworks going off. So we don't want to run Carl off. But I hope everybody's having a good New Year so far. Guys, just kind of quick update with me. And if you've noticed, things with the show might be a little bit different. The background's different. We really got down to the bottom of why my wife has been so sick. We've mentioned it a couple times, but she got exposed to toxic black mold. And long story short, we had to basically throw away the last 11 years of our life, move, get to a drier climate, and literally just start over. And the good news is that she is slowly but surely getting better. And so this last year has been something, but I'm glad we're getting answers, and I appreciate everybody praying and all the support. What a great community, and all the support from Daniel and just people like Taff the Wonder and all the members. And it just means a lot. So maybe that's why we haven't been doing these live shows as much, because I haven't been able to, but doing my best to get a show out every single Monday. I've not missed a Monday yet. So thanks to Daniel's help and everybody else. But anyways, looking forward to 2025, new things. And then if you guys can remember, pray for my mom. She's been very sick. So just a lot of stuff going on in our lives, but man, I believe in the power of prayer and everybody praying. But I've got another story I'm going to read here. This is another missing 411, but this is of Leah Davis. And I will say too, guys, with these encounters and these missing 411, especially, we're very aware that these are real people that lost their lives. There's family members out there that, that this really does affect. And so we're taking all this into consideration, but it's important that this stuff is talked about, because people need to know that it's, for one, it's super easy. You spend a lot of time in the woods, man. It's super easy to get turned around and can happen so fast. I mean, just in the blink of an eye. I mean, I've been lost a couple of times, and it's scary, so this can happen really quick. So just wanted to lay that foundation. We know that these are, emotional things for people and the families that it affects. So this one's about Leah Davis. And so Leah Davis was an adventurous and free-spirited 24-year-old who loved the outdoors. One crisp autumn morning in 2019, she set off to what would have been a routine hike in the Evergreen Trail, nestled in the lush mountains terrain of Washington State. Leah was known for her passion for hiking and had explored the particular trail several times before. When Leah didn't return home that evening, her family grew concerned. They tried calling her, but the calls went straight to voicemail. By the following morning, her parents contacted the local authorities, setting off a search that would unravel a chilling mystery. Search and rescue teams found Leah's car parked neatly at the trailhead. Inside the vehicle were her wallet, a water bottle, a trail map marked with what appeared to be her planned route. It seemed that she had intended to return soon, but there was no sign of Leah. Over the following days, teams scoured the trail and surrounding areas, employing canines, drones, and even thermal imaging cameras. Despite their efforts, no substantial clues were discovered and no signs of a struggle or abandoned gear, not even footprints that could be confirmed for the path. The disappearance left authorities baffled and her loved ones desperate for answers. Speculation quickly emerged. They theorized that Leah may have gotten lost or fallen victim to a tragic accident, possibly slipping off a cliff or being swept away by the region's unpredictable rivers. Others suspect foul play, noting that the proximity of the trail to the remote, isolated areas that could easily be concealed sinister activity. Then there were more unusual theories. Could Leah have chosen to disappear, leaving her old life behind? Or, as some online forums suggest, with something more dangerous at play, perhaps an encounter with a predator, cryptid, human, or otherwise, lurking deep in the forest. 3 years later, Leah's disappearance remains a haunting enigma. Her family continues to look for her, hoping that one day the evidence will emerge. The Evergreen Trail is still open to hikers, but Leah's story serves as a grim reminder of how quickly someone can vanish in the wilderness without a trace. So they still haven't solved that case. She's still missing right now, unless, I couldn't find where they found anything. But what was interesting to me that year, in 2019, the state of Washington had accumulated over 2,000 reported Bigfoot sightings in that, in the state of Washington. And there were several that were in that area where she was hiking at. So, I don't know. Could it be? Here's my thing. And we've talked about this on this channel before. And I know that a lot of the Bigfoot sightings I come across, Daniel, and I know that you're the same way, is a lot of them are just, they're not super aggressive. They just, they cross the road, or they're camping and they hear this stuff and they see evidence of it, or it crossed their trail. But it makes me wonder how many of these are related to Dogman, because I really think that if you're going to have a bad encounter with something, it's going to be a Dogman. So what do you think that percentage is? It's like, let's say out of all the missing 411 cases, let's say 10% are cryptid related, right? Out of that 10%, how many do you think are Dogman related versus Bigfoot?
Are we just talking specific states, or are we talking across the whole United States?
I'm talking across the whole U.S. Because Dogman is their sightings are everywhere. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's just fits off to one area. I think that's something that's everywhere.
Well, if you have 100,000 411 cases and 10% of them are, like you said, potentially, so that's 10,000 of those cases that are related to cryptid in some way, shape, or form. I'm going to have to say for every probably 5 or 10 Sasquatch, maybe 1 Dogman. But you have to look in certain areas, because, you hear a lot of stuff, Dogman up in the UP, Dogman, in the LBL. Those are where you have a more concentration, of Dogman from everything that I've listened to. And I'm not saying that they're not everywhere. I just interviewed a guy, my very first Dogman experience that I've heard coming out of Washington State.
Yeah. So, you did. Good interview.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But I can't really give you a good number what it was. I would say if there is a cryptid involved, I think it's more Sasquatch than Dogman.
Me and you both have seen these things, not Dogman, thank goodness. I've seen Bigfoot, but I think that if Bigfoot wants to get you, there's not a whole lot you can do. I know that you've had some really scary encounters when you were a kid. You've had good and bad encounters, right? But I know that when you guys went camping, that was a really bad encounter. But if these things, they pace you out of the woods, but if they really would have wanted you, even though there was so much ammunition and firepower there, I think that you wouldn't really have much of a shot, and until you see these things, you understand how big they really are and how fast they move. I don't think there's much you could do. I just don't.
Well, people who have never seen one, and they're only going by, what they read or what videos they see, or they listen to an account. I'm here to tell you, these things are insanely quick, and
Massive.
Their movements are so fluid.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. If anybody's a wrestling fan out there, there used to be a wrestler called Bam Bam Bigelow, and he was a big guy, bald head, flame tattoos on his head, and he was every pound of like 350 pounds. This dude could do cartwheels, backflips. He was an impressive specimen. Very, very quick, very, very agile. These things they're on a whole nother level. There is no grizzly bears, cougars, you name. I'd even have to say that a polar bear would not be an apex predator when a Sasquatch is in the area.
No, No, I agree. I agree with that. And guys, I'm gonna show you guys a video of one that somebody supposedly captured. And this video really will give you chills because this lady was in the woods. It was in Pennsylvania, and she captured, what she believes is a Bigfoot creature. And Daniel's right. These things are I don't think a polar bear would have a chance. And I think as far as what is documented, polar bear is probably the biggest predator that's out there. And I just don't think that there's any way at all that a polar bear would even have a shot. But now the one that this lady supposedly captured, it's not quite as big and broad, but watch the movement, watch how it moves. And it takes a few seconds to get into it. The video is 52 seconds long. So let's say, and it happened in Pennsylvania. So let's check this out. Number one, could you imagine? What would you do after you saw that? I mean, I would be done for. Do you go back? Do you sit right there? What do you do? I don't know. And that, like I said, that one wasn't as big as the one I saw, or I don't know if that's bigger than the one you saw, but the movement of that thing, just the way that it moved and stuff, like how the fluidity of it, if that's a word.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't have a shot. I just don't think you'd have a shot. I just don't.
Crystal, yeah, I think that is an albino one. And you guys saw how quick in seconds, not even a second, it was out of frame. It moved so quick and so fluid. It was like if someone's in a suit and they're out at night trying to perpetrate, oh, look, I'm an actual Sasquatch. They're going to kind of hesitate when they take off because they want to make sure they don't run into a tree. If there's a clear path, this thing turned and was gone in the blink of an eye. It had no hesitation.
Nope. But that, that's the point though. Look how fast it moved away. If it wanted to move towards that person and grab them, what are you going to do? There is nothing you can do. And then the next thing you know, you might be a missing 411, but I don't know, man. It's just that kind of stuff. But I know for me and you, I mean, I can speak for me personally. I know we've had lots of conversations about this, but I refuse to go off into the deep woods anymore. I won't do it. After seeing what I've seen and seeing the evidence that me and you get sent to us, there is no way. Absolutely not. So yeah, Crystal, you're right. He moves so fast, very, very, very fluid. So, but hey, I don't know if you saw, but I think Pork and Beans is in the house.
I didn't see. Is he in the house?
I think so. Paw Powers here. Pork and Beans here. Steamboat's good to see you. All the guys out there and girls. Watt, good to see you. Douglas, good to see you. Glad to see all the faces and everybody here hanging out with us. So thanks to all the members that are out there. Couldn't do this show without you guys and everybody that listens. So hope you guys are enjoying this. Let us know if you're enjoying the show tonight. But man, you got another missing 411 case we can talk about.
I do. I have the 411 case that actually took place 3 days prior to Terrence's disappearance. Okay. So this is October 2nd, 2018, the disappearance of Connie Johnson in the exact location, Nez Perce National Forest. Connie Johnson, 76, was an experienced outdoors woman who had spent much of her life in remote wilderness areas. She worked as a cook for the Ritchie Outfitters hunting camp near Big Fog Mountain in Idaho's Nez Perce National Forest. A former U.S. Forest Service wilderness ranger, she was well-versed in survival skills and familiar with the area's rugged terrain. She was described as independent, capable, and someone who felt at home in the wilderness. She was last seen October 2nd, 2018 by two hunters who left the camp for a hunt That same day, she communicated with the hunters via radio. This would be her final known contact. When the hunters returned to camp on October 3rd, they found it abandoned. Connie's belongings were left behind, including most of her gear. Her loyal dog, Ace, a border collie, was also missing. An extensive search began shortly after her disappearance, involving ground teams, helicopters, and search dogs. The search of the area was challenging with steep terrain, dense forests, and remote trails. Despite weeks of effort, no trace of Connie was found during the initial search. However, 3 weeks after her disappearance, Ace, her dog, reappeared near the Moose Creek Ranger Station, approximately 15 miles away from the hunting camp. He was in good health, but provided no clues as to what had happened to Connie. Some of the theories are an accidental death. Given the challenging terrain, it's possible Connie suffered an accident such as a fall or injury, making her unable to signal for help. 2, an animal encounter. The area is home to bears, cougars, and wolves. A wildlife attack cannot be ruled out, though no signs of a struggle or remains were found. Voluntary disappearance. Some speculate that Connie may have chosen to leave the area or intentionally disappeared, though this seems unlikely, given her love for the outdoors and lack of any prior indication. Foul play. Although there's no evidence suggesting foul play, it remains a possibility in such an isolated area. 5, missing 411 phenomenon. Connie's case fits the profile of a missing 411 case, documented by researchers. Sorry, guys, apologize. Documented by researcher David Politis, characterized by sudden disappearance in a national park and wilderness under strange circumstances. Her disappearance remains unsolved. Despite her extensive knowledge of the wilderness, no evidence of her fate has been found, leaving her family and friends with unanswered questions. This one, however, makes me tend to, I think that there is a greater chance of maybe a cryptid being involved in this one.
Yeah. Well, like my thing is like, what would make the dog run off? Obviously the dog had to run off, right? If dogs are loyal, and if you're out there they're not going to just leave you, right? Unless there's something bigger than them that they know I don't know, but that's really strange to me that part of the case really gets me. And then when you tie that into the fact that happened really close to the first one you read, man, it just kind of makes you wonder. I don't know. That's really strange. I'd say the probability of that one being cryptid related is pretty high.
Yeah,
I would think.
I would
guys,
agree.
And good job reading that, man. Good information. And guys, I would love to hear what you think. If you think, let's just say that case is cryptid related, right? Let's just say that that's what that was. If you think it was Bigfoot, I want you to put a 1. If you think it was a Dogman, I want you to put a 2. And that way, I just kind of want to know what you guys think. But yeah, dogs are very loyal, and they're not just going to run off. So, hey, I don't know. That's really strange. Hey, Squatch and Holler is here. It's good to hear from you, buddy.
Roger?
Roger's a great guy. If you've not checked out his channel, guys, you need to go check it out. He is a phenomenal guy, great person in this community. And while they're dropping their stuff, man, Danny, why don't you give your channel a plug, man? Tell everybody what you're doing.
All right. So if anybody in here does not already know, I have a podcast called the Crypted Podcast. There is my logo. I'm also found on YouTube and Spotify. Great news. I mean, I'm really surprised. So I dropped my first video. Oh, what the heck? I dropped my first video. 1 second, you guys. I lost something here. I dropped my first video in like early November.
Yep.
And as of today, I have 746
That's awesome.
subscribers. So
awesome. That's super cool, man.
I think within the first month, I hit my 4,000 watch hours. I think I'm now at almost 6,000. Like 25,000 views. Yeah, it's getting very, very, I guess you say real. So I've seen a lot of people in here who are kind of hinting that they might have had an encounter or something like that. Crystal and Girly Bigfooter, if you guys would love to come on my show or Josh's show, he can put his email address up, but I'll tell you mine. It's really easy. It's the name of the podcast, the Crypted Podcast 72, or Crypted Podcast 72 at gmail.com. So just shoot me an email. I'd love to hear what you got going on. I'm starting to get ready to do some new things. And what else was I going to say? Oh, I also have a TikTok channel as well, the Cryptid Podcast. I only have I have one video and like one little slideshow that I made. The video was provided to me by Steamboat in here. And I just on a whim put it on the TikTok channel. And I've got close to 14,000 views on that video.
That's awesome. It's awesome. Very cool, guys. Go check him out. He's a great guy. He's like this, this channel was built on being a safe place for you to share your encounters. He's that way. A lot of times we share guests, you'll hear people crossing our shows, and, we're definitely not in any kind of competition. We're here to help each other out, but we just want to give people a safe place to share these encounters, because it's very important to get this stuff off your chest. And, like you said, if you've got an encounter, and I know, Crystal, you said that you've not shared it publicly, we would love to give you that platform. You can ask people like Steamboat. He's been on my show. He's been on Daniel's, and it's just good to get that stuff off your chest. So if you're sitting on an encounter, people need to know. They really need to know that these things are out there, because you could save a life. You could keep somebody from going out in the woods and not knowing, these things are there. So it's really important, that we're trying to build out, a knowledge base where people know what's out there. And, it's really changed my perspective on the woods and on life. And I know it did Daniel's too. And we both have had encounters, Class A encounters, and a lot of his encounters are on my show. And my encounters are on his show. So if you like Bigfoot stuff, cryptids, all things related to that, you'll love his channel. And but I've got another missing 411 to get into. But before we do that, I'm going to show you guys, if I can find the video, I'm going to show you guys another encounter. If I can find it here. Let me see here. I think this is it. Hang on. I'm going to have to play this video a couple times to find the right one. So I think this one is right here. Yeah. We'll see if this is the right one. That's it. So if you look over to the right, this guy is I think he's going out to an oil well or something, and he catches a Bigfoot off to the right. He didn't even realize it. So check this out and see if you can spot it. As a big dude.
He had his back to it. You saw, I don't know if that was like his right ear, but he's kind of had his head turned. He was being a super, but come on, man, have some common sense. You're standing in front of birch trees. But I saw that video, man. That video was amazing. Now, I've seen some other videos, like you posted one, and it was just like someone had just set a camera down by like a trail and this big thing comes walking. You could tell it's somebody made up.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, you could tell.
It's things like this. It's things like that Steamboat, shared with me.
Yeah.
Crystal, yeah, that's I think that's why our community is so strong. You'd mentioned that we don't just, dismiss anybody, and we hear them out, and we love to hear people. I love reading the comments. I love watching people engage in the comments and stuff, because Girly Bigfooter said it best, by sharing everybody's encounters, we're learning new, we're learning new things, because Josh's encounter 100% different than my encounters. I mean, you had a guy that dukes a hazard over the hood of his car while he's driving down the road, going like 50 miles an hour.
A white one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then mine, she was like dark charcoal gray and every inch of 8 feet tall when she stood up and just looked right at us. And then just in one fluid movement, turned, looked at us, and then turned back, and then 3 steps off into the woods. And it was like a 17-foot span from the road to the woods that she covered in like 2 or 3 steps. It was crazy.
It's wild. And that's what we're saying, guys. Like, as fast as these things are and as huge, as big as they are, 2 seconds, you're done. If they want you, you are done. And I don't care. Daniel, you're a firearms instructor. You know guns inside and out. I didn't know that I just didn't know that there's a big enough gun out there to stop these things if they want to get you. And of course, me personally, I think they're more than flesh and blood. And I think we differ in that way. But if they want you, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do. And so, it makes you think about it, and it makes you think about twice going out into the woods. But we've missed a lot of comments. So if you've said a comment, guys, we've missed it. We appreciate everybody out here, but I did catch one. Roger, I'd love to come on and share my encounter. I don't think I ever shared that with you. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but it's pretty wild. It's kind of what started this whole channel, but it's good to see everybody out here tonight. Hopefully you guys are enjoying that. And back when I asked that question, I don't know if you caught that, man, but most people put 1 in the chat for Bigfoot. So they thought maybe Bigfoot is what was causing these people, if it is a cryptid related versus Dogman. So I'm really surprised by that. But
well, you asked me about a handgun. If there's a handgun, there's definitely a handgun out there big enough that would drop one of these things. But the thing is this. If they are, and it's quick, I'm telling you, the distance that I train people, 10 millimeter is not going to stop one. I'm sorry. 10 millimeter is not going to stop one. 21 feet is the magic distance between a perpetrator and you. If you let anything get within 21 feet of you, you're done. You're done. With these things, 21 feet is a step and a half.
Yeah.
Is a step and a half easily. Smith & Wesson 500. Now you guys are throwing out. Are you guys throwing out a 50 cal? Are you talking about a Desert Eagle? I mean, maybe not, but Smith & Wesson 500. You got a bunch of other ones out there. Handguns are pretty powerful, but it is the first shot has to count.
Well, and here's the thing, though. Let's just say that you're off in the woods, you're alone, you're hiking. You're one of these missing 411 people, and you've got that, that gun ready to go, and it's holstered. You're not going to be walking around in the woods with it. You know what I mean? You're just not going to do that. You see something that big standing less than 10 feet away from you, and it takes 2 steps. Are you going to have enough gumption to pull out your gun and take a shot at this thing before it can get to you? You're not. I just don't think you are. And, I'm a trained, listen, I 16 years in law enforcement, trained to use my weapon. I knew all those things. There's no way. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, but there's no way that a gun's not going to do you any good. But that's just me. That's just me. That's just, but I don't know. Makes you think twice about going out in the woods. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
for sure. But let's see here. I've got one here that I'm going to pull up. and this is called the Lone Pine Mystery. So the disappearance of First Lieutenant Matthew Kraft. The Sierra Nevada mountains are as beautiful as treacherous. Towering peaks blanketed in the snow, stretched endlessly under the vast blue sky. For some, the wilderness is a place of solace and challenge. For others, it's the setting of chilling mysteries. Today, we dive into the story of First Lieutenant Matthew Kraft, a determined and skilled U.S. Marine who vanished without a trace in this unforgiving terrain in early 2019. Matthew Kraft wasn't just any hiker. He was 24 years old and was a disciplined and experienced outdoorsman, someone well-versed in the art of survival. As a Marine, he thrived on pushing his limits, and the Sierra High Route, one of the most challenging backcountry treks in the United States, was the ultimate test. On February 23rd, 2019, Matthew arrived at the trailhead near Independence, California. His goal was to ski the Sierra High Route solo. This grueling journey spans 195 miles of rugged backcountry terrain, ending near Bridgeport, California. The Marine Corps, I think his destination was the Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center, where he planned to complete the trip by March 4th or 5th. Before setting out, Matthew spoke to his family, confident in his ability to tackle the adventure. He had planned his journey, carrying all of his gear and supplies he'd need to survive the elements. But after, let's see here. I think I missed something here. So he'd planned to, I totally messed that up. Sorry, guys. But as on March the 4th, when Matthew failed to show up at his intended destination, his family, knowing his reliability, immediately reported him missing. A massive search effort was launched, spanning 400 square miles of the Sierra Nevada harsh wilderness. Helicopters buzzed over the snow-covered peaks, drones scanned the terrain, and rescue teams braved sub-zero temperatures. Despite the exhausted efforts, the searchers only found one clue: Matthew's rental car, still parked at the trailhead where his journey had begun. Beyond that, it was though he simply vanished into thin air. No tracks, no equipment, no signs of struggle, just nothing. The conditions during Matthew's trek were brutal. February 2019 had brought heavy snowfall, creating a high risk of avalanches. Temperatures plummeted and fierce winds battered the mountains. Even for someone that was skilled as Matthew, the odds were stacked against him. Speculation about this disappearance runs wild. Did he succumb to an avalanche? Or was he buried under the snow, unreachable by rescuers? Could he have lost his way, wandering off the route, even into more treacherous terrain? Or could something even more mysterious have occurred? To me, that's a pretty sad story, but I think it's pretty obvious. I think the elements is what he succumbed to. That's my thoughts when I read that. But I don't know, man. That'd be a really bad way to go
about it. Yeah, you talk about the elements. I mean, it's all over the news. There's two guys who are out squatching, and they're from Portland, and they were found, and they died of exposure because they were ill prepared. So, again, if anybody's watching this, number one, guys, just don't go out by yourselves. Don't go out with just a buddy on a whim. If you guys are going to go out, plan a trip, plan ahead, plan accordingly. You can never be too prepared, and possibly go out with someone who actually knows what they're doing out there and knows the area.
Yeah.
So
that's some good advice. And also to add to that, make sure you know who you're going out with too. Make sure it's a trusted person. Make sure it's somebody that you can actually trust. Because the last thing you want to do is to get out there in the woods with somebody and them not be who they, who you thought they were. So that's really, really important. Good, solid advice, man. I think I got to read this comment right here. And that's a good point, Mike. Even if you could kill one, I don't believe you'll even make it out of the woods alive, because where there's one, there's usually several more. And I can attest to that. I really, after sitting here and listening to all these encounters that we've heard over the years, the year that I've been doing this. And I think for almost 99% of the time, if you have an encounter with one and you see one cryptid, there's another one around the corner watching them or something. I just think these things are in packs. I don't think that can there be ones that are just out there by themselves? Sure. But I think the majority of the time, man, they're not alone. But yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. Squatch and Holler believes you too, Mike. I think it's spot on, man. What do you think, Daniel?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, you just honestly, if there is, I'm not going to say 9 out of 10 times, maybe 7 out of 10 times. If you see one, you don't see the other 2 or 3.
Mm-mm.
They're not stupid.
No,
they're definitely not stupid. They know who we are.
They do. They do. They know.
They know what we're capable of. They've seen it.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a spotter. And it's funny thing is, it's like velociraptors. You have that one velociraptor that catches your attention, and then the other ones they hit you.
Yeah.
So
that's it. And I think then somebody was asking what my email is. I guess you can't read it down at the bottom, but it's mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. But Daniel's right. Like if you, let's just say that you get lucky enough to take one out, you're not going to be able to take out the other ones that are there. And so, in that situation, I will tell you honestly, I think the best thing you can do if you find yourself in a situation like that, man, is to pray. It's the best thing you can do. Because I believe in the power of prayer, and I think that works. But that's a good way to put that, Daniel. I think that's a really good representation of how that kind of works. And I would love to know your opinion on this. I don't know if me and you've ever talked about it, but I've had several. Very fortunate to have several Native Americans that have been on the show, and they talk about Sasquatch and Bigfoot in their history. A lot of them call them cannibals because they said that, in their culture, they would come into the camp and steal the children and the women and take them back and eat them. And so that's why I think that there is some kind of connection to the missing 411 and to cryptids, because there is that history, that can there's that correlation there. And then, like I said, we're not saying that these things are, that's 100% what's going on, but is there evidence that has happened before? Absolutely there is. So that's kind of what I think. But
and I want to say it's the native tribe, the Iroquois. They battled these things. So
yeah, they did. And that's a story we got to get into sometime, man. That's a really, really interesting story. But, Girly Bigfoot, that's some great advice. Like they pray every time they go out when they research it. It's just really important. And it's, you can't underestimate that, so, guys, make sure that, like I say in every show, that you're staying prayed up and all that. But man, you got another missing 411 we can get into?
I do. This one's kind of creepy. This one's from, let's see here. This one is the vanishing of James Jim Rogers, located Ozark Mountains in Arkansas.
I know where that's at.
October 3rd, 1998. Jim Rogers was 34 years old, an avid outdoorsman, experienced hiker. Born and raised in Arkansas, Jim had spent countless hours exploring the Ozark Mountains. Known for his survival skills and love of nature, he often ventured into the wilderness alone. On October 3rd, 1998, Jim planned a solo weekend hike in the Ozark National Forest. He informed his family of his intended route, which was a 12-mile loop near the Mulberry River. He carried minimal supplies, as he often did, confident in his ability to live off the land if necessary. The disappearance. In the morning, Jim parked his truck at the trailhead near Mulberry River and set off for his hike. Witnesses recall seeing him on the trail, exchanging friendly gestures. That afternoon, a couple hiking in the area claimed they heard a loud, inexplicable noise, a deep guttural sound that echoed throughout the forest. Shortly after, they noticed the trail seemed eerily silent, with no birds or animals. That evening, Jim's family became concerned when he did not return home. By the next morning, they contacted local authorities, prompting a search and rescue operation. A multi-agency search efforts spanned several weeks involving ground teams, helicopters, and tracking dogs. Search dogs reportedly lost Jim's scent abruptly near a rocky outcrop as if he had just vanished into thin air. Despite the evidence or the effort, there were no signs of Jim, no gear, no clothing, or footprints. Even his truck at the trailhead offered no clues. Now, there are some theories. Accidental death. The rugged terrain of the Ozark Mountains is known for its steep cliffs and hidden caves. Jim may have fallen into an inaccessible area. However, searchers found no indication of a fall or disturbance in those areas. A wildlife encounter. The Ozarks are home to black bears, wild boars, and other potentially dangerous animals. Jim could have been attacked and his remains scattered. This theory is weakened by the lack of blood, torn clothing, or animal tracks. Human involvement. Some speculate Jim encountered foul play. The Ozarks are remote, attracting hunters, recluses, and occasionally individuals with ill intent. Number 5, paranormal activity. The Ozark Mountains are steeped in a folklore with tales of strange lights, mysterious disappearances, and phantom voices. Some suggest Jim could have encountered something outwardly, perhaps tied to the region's Native American legend or supernatural lore. Number 5 is a cryptid encounter. The area has occasionally reported of strange creatures, including Bigfoot-like beings and the Ozark Howler, a mythical bear-like creature with glowing red eyes. Some wonder if Jim stumbled upon such a creature. Jim's case bears hallmark of the missing 411 phenomena: experienced outdoorsman, sudden disappearance, lack of evidence, and unusual searching conditions. Jim's disappearance remains as an enigma. His family continues to seek closure, and his case has become part of Ozark lore. Local hikers often recount his story, reminding each other of the unforgiving and mysterious nature of the mountains. I'm going to come straight out here and tell you guys, if I'm in that area, I'm not scared of black bears. I'm not scared of Dogman. I'm not scared of Sasquatch. I'm terrified of feral people.
Well, I can tell you,
you can chuckle.
No, I wasn't chuckling because of that, but I was just saying I can tell you because I grew up there. I've spent my whole life, my childhood in those woods in the Ozark Mountains. I've been all over the Ozarks. I've camped in the Ozarks. I mean, that's where I've spent my youth at. Rode four-wheelers almost everywhere you can think of out there, man. I never come across a feral person, but I can tell you that there are some absolutely people that you should be absolutely terrified that are in that area, and you don't want to come across the wrong type of person out there because it's very rural. The terrain is extremely rough, and more than likely he succumbed to some other person's hands or feral people. I mean, it's definitely possible. But yeah, it's a rough area. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, but there is some bad stuff out there for sure. In that area, I've never heard that story, surprisingly. But yeah, Squatch and Hollow, you're right. Mean people are more dangerous than most animals. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff, guys. With all that being said, hopefully you'll take away from this live is if you go out, be smart about what you do, know where you're going, know your area, know who you're with, pray before you go, make sure you're prepared. You got the right gear, the proper stuff, because like Daniel said, man, you don't want to run into a feral person, Bigfoot, cryptid, or, the wrong type of person, whatever. Be prepared for the elements, but there's a lot of stuff out there, man. A lot of strange stuff. And, there's a lot of people in the comments tonight that, are saying that they think these things are related to the Nephilim, things like that. I totally agree with that. I think they're Nephilim, fallen angels, something in that world or that realm when it comes to Bigfoot. But it's just a strange world. So many strange things and so many strange elements out there. But did you see Mike's comment?
I came across a feral woman with 2 kids as a child picking blueberries.
That's pretty wild. That's wild,
bro.
Man.
I'm telling you, man.
That is wild.
Well, I think it was Harley was telling me about, I think one of his friend's brother-in-law was fly fishing with his friend, and they weren't far apart from each other. They were maybe 25 yards apart from each other, and his friend's brother-in-law heard a noise, turned around behind him, and there was a person, like a feral person, standing behind him with something behind his back. And I guess when he reached for, like, I don't know if he had a gun on him or not, but he dropped whatever he had, took off running up the hill, and he got his brother-in-law's attention. He came over, and when they walked up the bank, there was a hatchet where that guy had dropped. See, now I'm telling you right now. Number one, I'm never going to put myself in that situation ever.
Nope.
But if I did, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna commit a crime.
Listen, like I can't say that I blame you, man. I would do the same. There's been a lot of times because I worked early in my career. I worked in the county as a deputy, and the county I worked at was really rural, in that Ozarks area, and just a lot of places out in the middle of nowhere. And you get these calls, man. And you'd show up to these properties, and it was like, whew. I mean, it was. You were fortunate. You felt fortunate to make it home at the end of your shift a lot of times because there was some pretty sketchy stuff out there. But, I know we've kind of been all over the place tonight, guys, and we've been talking about missing 411 and stuff like that. But I got an audio clip I want to play for you guys. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, but I'm going to play a clip from Martin Groves. And I believe that Daryl Denton was with him on this encounter. I think this is the one where they were together and they were in the LBL talking about missing 411 people. And I would be curious to know how many people go missing in the LBL every year. And the reason this came to mind is Squatch and Holler's in the house. And he's spent a lot of time in the LBL and he knows the area really, really well. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think this encounter was with Martin Groves, Daryl Denton. I think they were in the LBL and they were driving in their truck and they saw something really, really strange. Now, this is not their main story that Martin Grove, he ran into Bigfoot and some Dogman creatures, but listen to this audio, guys. Let me know what you guys think. And this is why I think that you can definitely, it's not a big far jump to say that missing 411 people are because of a cryptid, but let's check this out. Let me know what you guys think.
We see something out our truck window. We saw a creature that, in my belief, came out of a portal because we saw a mist. We saw what can only be described like a gray color mist on the side of the road at first. Nothing was in that mist, and then all of a sudden a creature appears, standing beside of the road. When he saw it, it was laid down. I saw it as it began to stand up, and the creature was approximately 8 foot tall in height. This thing was massive. It was nothing like I had seen in 1993. It was even bigger than the Bigfoot that I had saw. This was massive. And the only description that I can give to you is that it appeared to be something off of television. There was no way that this could be real right in front of my eyes. It was like I was seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie, The Predator. This thing was translucent. It was gray in color. The back of its head and around its shoulders had Daryl explains it as a lion's mane running down. I couldn't tell what it was. It was hairy coming off the back part of its neck, and it stood up, and it had a rounded snout, and it had the head. I say it was bigger than a beach ball. It wasn't a helmet, but it wasn't a normal type head of what you depict upon what they call Dogman. This thing was just massive. The one thing the two of us could agree upon after speaking about it was that it had a rounded snout and it protruded from the face. And it had white glowing eyes that was deep set behind its forehead. I mean, it's just solid white, like flashlight, strobe light, white light. And by this time, I can't even believe what I'm seeing in front of us. So as I'm passing this object, this beast, whatever that it is, it goes behind my truck, passes behind me, and I'm looking at it in the mirror, and I'm starting to speed up to get some distance between it. And as it goes up the side of the truck, that's when something happens to both of us. Daryl's legs begin to get numb, and his eyes began to leak as if like a water faucet was turned on. I had similar symptoms, but twice as bad. As this thing passes behind my truck, it shoots up the side of the field and goes straight up one of the hills on the devil's backbone. This thing doesn't even look like its feet is touching the ground. Again, translucent, predator type or style. It goes right up the mountain hill. We can hear it breaking tree limbs, but yet it's not touching the ground. This thing is like it is floating. I don't even see its legs move or arm moves. It's like watching a cartoon per se, or some type of a sci-fi flick. So this thing disappears up into the mountains. Now, getting back into the truck where he and I are, I got the truck wheel in my hand and I'm trying to drive, and my eyes begin swelling shut. What I'm about to tell you, I want you to keep in mind that I've been hit by every type known CS agent that can be used, police or military, government style of tear gas, or what they would use upon humans to subdue them. My eyes are beginning to swell shut. My tongue is swelling and I cannot get my breath. It is if someone sprayed me with the topical agent, what we call Top Cop, or one of the other higher end great CS agents that they spray to subdue someone. So I've got numbness in my legs like Daryl does, and my eyes are swollen shut, and I cannot breathe.
Martin is an absolute great guy, but I cannot even imagine experiencing something like that, man. That's why I say, guys, it's not a far jump to say that some of these missing 411 people succumb to something like that. But I don't know, after encounter like that, how you can ever believe that they're just flesh and blood, man. I don't see how. But
I don't think what they saw was a Sasquatch.
I don't know what that was. It's some kind of cryptid. I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea. But that is it's so wild. But I don't know. Bigfoot Society's in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Really, really glad to see you. So yeah, let's see. Brotherhood of the Wolf. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's awesome. They're all great guys. They are absolute pillars in this community, and it's just to I've had Daryl on the show, and I know you have too, man. They're good guys, but
absolutely.
Paul Power. Let's see. Will not let you do super chat. I don't know what's up with that. Let me check and see what's going on with that. Man, you got another story?
I do, but I'm gonna try to send you something.
Okay. And while you're doing that, I had somebody ask us if we had a schedule for the lives, and we don't. We've both had so much going on that we were trying to do there for a while. We were doing a live once a week, probably, at least every other week for sure. And then all the stuff that happened with my wife and how sick she got, I had to put things on pause with that for a while, but we're kind of settled again. So we're going to try to do these lives more often. I'm glad you guys really, really enjoy those. And so I want to say thanks for hanging out with us tonight. If this is your first time, let us know that you're here and this is your first time, and we're glad to see everybody. So that video came through, man. Let me see if I can get it posted.
Yeah. So before you show it, let me let me talk it up or whatever you want me to do.
Yeah,
Steamboat, I sent Josh that video you sent me. So you guys, let me know when it's ready to go.
Yeah, I will. It'll take me just a second to get it uploaded. So
Okay.
I'm fast, but I'm not that fast.
You're only as quick as the technology allows you to be.
Yeah, it's true, man. That's true. That is true. Let's see here. Might take me just a second.
Hey, Crystal, I replied back to your email.
It's processing, so it'll take just a second.
Okay.
But appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. I'm so glad you guys here. First time, glad you guys are loving it. And, if you've got an encounter you would like to send me, you can send it to me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. Would love to have you on. This is a safe place to share these encounters. So is Daniel over at his channel and his show. We'll try to do these lives more often for you guys. A lot of fun. We like hanging out with you guys. But I got that video uploaded, ready to go. So if you want to go ahead and preface it.
Cool. So you guys, this video was sent to me by my bro, Steamboat. And I talk with him quite a bit. And he's getting a lot of stuff set up. And what he does is he goes out because he wants people to be aware of what's out there. So this video is he sent it to me, which was provided to him by a friend of his. The video camera is 25 feet up in the peak of the house, so up on the peak of the roof, and it's 100 feet away from the fence. Now, he's told Steamboat, I got something messing around in or near my backyard. And he goes, I'm going to move my camera and I'm going to try to see if I can capture it. So he moved the camera. He's got an 8-foot tall privacy fence around his backyard. Okay. The light source is coming from, I would assume, a floodlight or whatever, a motion light that is on the left-hand side. Okay. Now pay attention. You're going to see a shadowy area on the left-hand side of this video. Watch left to right and then back right to left.
Okay. Here we go, guys. Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys, when I first saw it, I thought it was just a shadow. I thought it was just someone messing around. I watched it quite a few times. Now, what we're seeing, yes, you see a tall shadow, but right, if you kind of look just a little bit from the crest of the head all the way down, maybe a foot or so, you see the top of the head. Now, it's a good 2 feet above the fence. And what it did was, if anybody can remember the old style refrigerators that had the big metal grates for shelving, the really heavy steel, the heavy gauge steel shelving in the old refrigerators. What this person did, hey, William, I'd love to tell you what town it is, but for sake of security and the pretty much protection of the homeowner, all we're at liberty to say, as I'm at liberty to say, is Cass County in East Texas. So, yeah, let me finish it real quick, Wyatt, and then I'll have Josh play it again. So what had happened was that the homeowner took these shelvings from these old refrigerators and had made a live trap out of them because he was having problems with some raccoons. He placed it out there. So what happened was he comes out from the left, walks over, and the way it was described to me is that peeled this trap apart like a sardine can, reached in, grabbed the raccoon, and walked back off to the left. Unfortunately, there was another camera set up, but the memory on that camera recycles, and they lost that footage. But from the homeowner and from Steamboat, there was a much clearer view of what it was doing. You could see it reach down, pull apart the live trap, reach in, grab the raccoon, and he said the raccoon looked like a small rabbit in its hands, and then it walked back off to the side.
Jeez, thing's massive. Let's play it again so everybody can see that. That's insane, man.
If you guys could hear that whining, that's the homeowner's dog, because that dog knows something's going on outside.
Yeah.
And also the homeowner, before he set that trap out there, and he's a bigger guy, had like jumped up and down on this cage, and it did nothing to it. It didn't warp it, didn't break it, didn't, push it in. It was sturdy. And this thing just peeled it back like a sardine can.
Like it was nothing.
Yep.
Like it was nothing. Yeah. Good luck getting away from that out in the woods if it wanted to get you.
And the cool thing about it, you guys, that video was taken the night before Thanksgiving this year, or 2024.
Yeah, that gave me Patty vibes, man. The way that Patty moved. So I'm going to play Patty right after that so you guys can look at that. But look at the way Patty moves and the way that this video moves. We'll play that again, but check.
Nah, Tech Bridge. I'm sorry, Trek Bridge. I'm sorry, man. That's not a man. I don't know if you were in here when I was describing. That's an 8-foot tall privacy fence. That's an 8-foot tall privacy fence, and that thing was easily from shoulder to the top of its head above the 8-foot fence. The top of the shoulder to the top of the head above that 8-foot tall fence. A man is going to walk choppy. That was a fluid motion over and a fluid motion back. Daniel put up a couple of the stills. Let me see what I got for the stills. Yeah, I don't have control what's being put up. So, it's not a man. But again, I'm not going to discourage anybody from their opinion. That's your opinion, 100%. So, I mean,
if it is a man, that is the biggest man that I have ever seen. Just with that being an 8-foot fence and the angle of the camera and how broad, I don't know too many men that are that broad that could be that tall, that they could move like that. Yeah. California Dave, you're right. The body mass is massive on that thing. Like,
Trek Bridge, he you're right. He has 100%, it's his opinion, and he knows it's a man. So
everybody can have their opinion. That's
absolutely. And I'm not going to tell him that he's wrong, but everybody has a right to their opinion.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's my opinion. That's definitely no man. That's definitely not a man. There's no way, in my opinion. But
I'm going to try to find a still that was taken from that video.
Yeah, if you can find one, if you can find one, let me know. And so, while we're in we're getting into all this stuff and different evidence and stuff, guys, and we ask this every once in a while, and it's been a little bit since we've done a live, so I have to ask, if you guys want to hear the absolute scariest dogman encounter you have ever heard, hands down, drop a 1 in the comment section. It's kind of a tradition every time we listen to this story. Daniel turns his lights off for whatever reason. So just to prove he's not scared. But if we get enough ones, we'll play this. There's one, Ash's Antics. We'll play this. If I get enough, I think we're going to, because people are already putting the ones in there. Listen to the inflection in this guy's voice, and listen to the way that he talks, and just the way that his voice is. It is just, it's insane. It's really, really, really scary. And we'll get enough ones, so I got to play that while Daniel's looking up that. So let me find it here, guys. Make sure I have it queued up and ready to go. So, all right, you ready, Daniel?
You know it.
Okay, here we go, guys.
And, this thing keeps drawing closer and closer to me, and I just can't make out what this thing is. It don't look like anything that I've ever seen. It gets close to the barbed wire fence on the right-hand side, and I think, well, maybe it's going to slow down, or maybe it'll veer off where it won't run into that barbed wire and it'll turn aside out of my way. But it didn't do that. Instead of doing that, this thing sped up. And instead of turning aside, it jumped right over the fence. And it landed on my side of the fence, in between the ditch line and the fence. And then it took another bound. And the next thing I know, this thing is out in the road. I mean, it's right next to my vehicle. And it scared me so bad that instinctually, I just jerked the wheel to the left and went over as far as I dared into the left-hand lane. And this thing, it started running right along beside of me. I had carry bomb mufflers on that car, and if you know what they're like, they're loud. But yet, at the same time, I could hear the nails of this thing, the toenails, click, 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 clacking on the road as it ran along beside me. And I could see it good now. I really didn't want to look at its face. I really didn't want to see its face. But I couldn't help it. It's just like I couldn't help myself. I had to. And, I mean, this thing was tall. It had to be at least 7 feet tall. It towered over the top of my car. And it was running along beside me. It couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 feet off the passenger side of my car. Just, I mean, right even with my passenger side window. I could see it just as clear as day. And I know that if it wanted to, this thing could have reached right in my car window and right over to the driver's side from the passenger side, and this thing could have grabbed me, and it could have drugged me right out of the car. If it wanted to, it could have just ripped my head off, or it could have leaned in my car window, and it could have bit my head off. I don't know. I know it could have, and I wanted to get out of there, but I didn't dare because I was in this steep curve, and I knew that if I hit the gas, this car probably wasn't going to be able to handle the curve, and it was going to run off in the ditch, and I was going to wreck, and I was going to be there alone with this thing, and I was going to be at its mercy. And for a little while, it just ran along beside me and just didn't pay me any attention. But that didn't last. Just slowly, seemed like it took forever, but just slowly, it started to turn its head, and it looked at me. Couldn't help it. I looked full in its eyes. I wish that I hadn't. I wish I'd never seen it. I wish I could erase the picture of what I saw from my mind, but I can't. This thing had great big black eyes. All I could see was black, and then they just looked as black to me as a bottomless pit. They just seemed soulless to me, and I just had a sense of evil that came over me. And this thing, when it looked at me, it was like that it could look through me and look to my very soul. And like I said, I just felt like I had been touched by evil. I don't know how else to explain it. And there was such a fear. And I wanted to scream or to holler out or do something. but it just seemed like my mouth just dried up like cotton, and there wasn't a sound that would come out. And I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to get away from this thing, but I couldn't because I was afraid I was going to wreck. And then it came closer, and it leaned down. It leaned in, and mind you, this thing is running beside my car the whole time. And it stuck its head in my window, and it grabbed hold of my door with its right hand. And that, I don't know how to describe it as other than that. It was a hand. This thing had huge hands, and it had long black nails, maybe about 3 inches long, 2 or 3 inches long, long black thick nails. And this thing put its right hand on my door, and I could hear it. It put its left hand on my doorknob, and it was jerking at my door, and it was jiggling my door handle. But this thing was leaning in my window, and it was looking right at me. And it seemed like that it curled its lips back, and I know it snarled at me, but I don't really remember hearing it. All I could hear was the sound of my engine and the sound of its toenails as it ran along beside my vehicle, going clack, 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 clack on the pavement. And it breathed on me. Seemed like I could smell blood and maybe decaying flesh as it breathed on me. It was horrible. And, I thought I was dead. I thought this was the end of me. I thought I was a goner. I thought I was a dead man for sure. And just about that time, the curve ended, and I came into a straightaway. And I just hit the gas and pushed it to the floor. And I took out of there. I took my eyes off of it, and I looked ahead. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw it lose a grip on my car door, and I saw its nails rake across the top of my door. And its head disappeared from my window. And as I drove away from it, as I pulled away from it, I looked in my rearview mirror, and I could see it getting smaller and smaller as it began to slow down. And the last thing I remember, the last thing that I saw, this thing veered off to the right again and jumped over the fence and disappeared into that field. I've never been so scared in all of my life. I mean, it was just absolutely horrifying.
That man is definitely telling the truth, in my opinion. When I was a police officer, I interviewed a lot of different people, and you can tell just by the way that their body language is. Unfortunately, we couldn't see his body language, but you could tell by the way his voice sounded and stuff. Man, he saw something he couldn't explain that night, and he's very fortunate to be here to be able to share that. But we have to play that one almost every time we do this show because, well, for one, you guys always ask to hear it, but it's probably the scariest one I personally have ever heard. So,
it's funny, when you listen to it again, I always pick up things when I hear it every time. And he said you could hear the nails on the pavement as it was running. And it's funny, Daryl Denton experienced the exact same thing in one of his encounters in the LBL. So
that's crazy. There's a lot of similarities between these encounters that different people are having that brings a lot of truth to them. So that one's up there for me, man. Pretty scary, but I got those pictures for you guys pulled up from that video that we were talking about. So let me go back up here, and these are screenshots from the video, I think. All right, so this is the first one.
Now, what Steamboat did is he went back in, he put the entire video, and he's trying to look at it frame by frame by frame by frame. And he was able to capture some really, really good clear.
Yeah, that's pretty clear.
Mostly clear.
I mean, you can see details in it, what could be, its eye sockets, the face. I don't know if that's a conical crown there or not. It's hard to tell. But here's the second picture.
That's more
that
than
one to me. Yeah, that one's a little hard to tell. Yeah.
So
that's pretty good evidence, though. That's some pretty good evidence. But I definitely wouldn't want to see that guy out in the woods at night alone, for sure.
Hey, Lucinda, is your birthday January 1st or New Year's Eve?
Because that's Daniel's birthday.
Because mine's January 1st, and she divulged her age. So let me ask you this. Let me ask everybody in there. How old do I look? Yeah, no one cares.
Oh, come on. That's funny. That's funny, man. They're here for the stories, Daniel. They're here for the stories.
Exactly.
Yes, they're here for the stories. Ashes.
I got
antics is
40s, 45. Oh, so Lucinda, you are my birthday twin.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Man, look at the 40s and the 30s. Thanks, guys. Well, just let me put this in perspective for you. I have 3 grown children, 28, 23, and 22. And I have 3 grandchildren, 8, 2, and 1.
That's awesome.
I just turned 53.
It's a good age, man. That's a good age.
I feel better in my 50s than I did in my 30s and my 40s.
That's awesome, man. It's a good age, man. Any day that you have, you're blessed, man. Any day that we have on this earth, we are absolutely, absolutely blessed. But guys, we love hanging out with you guys. And if you're enjoying these lives, let us know. A couple of people asked if we had a schedule set, and we don't yet. But, hopefully we'll be kind of get back into the groove of things and be able to do that. So you got all kinds of ages thrown at you, man.
Oh, I get Trek tossing 55 at me and then pop.
Check this one out. Ashes says, I feel like I'm 120. I can relate to that. There's days I feel like that.
Hey, Don, I was in the Air Force. I was a security police officer in the Air Force. I served from 90 to 95. So I love it.
That's awesome. Guys, if you're a service member, thanks for your service. Thanks for everything you guys do and did for our country. So, we wouldn't be where we're at today without you guys. So, we'll see. I hope I feel good at 50. Me too, Steamboat. But for you guys who are new to the channel, you guys are just hopping on here tonight. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed these live shows. We try to do this as often as possible, and hopefully we'll kind of get into a rhythm again where we can do these more often than we were. But every single Monday, I drop a brand new encounter, an interview with somebody who's had an encounter all over the U.S., and we've had some really great encounters on the channel. Daniel's been on my channel with his encounters multiple times. So you guys make sure to check it out. If you've got an encounter you would like to send me, you can send it to me by email at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. Kevin Dean is in the house. Go Hogs. Go Hogs, man. Go Razorbacks. If you're a Razorback fan, let me know. That's kind of an odd thing, but let's see.
Didn't you guys have someone on your football team like step on somebody's ankle?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about it. Now, I'll agree that was dirty. That was absolutely dirty. That should not have happened. Woo pig suey. That's it right there. Justin says, "Go Hogs." Awesome. You never know what you're going to get on these lives. The interviews are more structured, I promise, guys. If you're watching the replay of these lives, we're all over the place, but we like to chat with everybody in here and catch up with everybody and see how you guys are doing. But if you've got an encounter, please send it to me. Send that to Daniel on his channel. Even if you don't want to come on the show, but you've got an encounter you can't explain, or you want our opinions, or you want us to read it on one of these lives, let us know. We would love to have you guys on the show. But what other missing 411 case you got, man?
Bro, I got some good ones, man. And
let's jump into another one.
They're pretty. When I read them, I just scratched my head. I'm like, this is crazy. So, did you just talk about Paula Welden? No, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so this is an older one. This is the one. Ash's Antics is in Fort Smith, Arkansas, right now.
Cool.
So
very cool.
This is the disappearance of Paula Welden from the Long Trail in Bennington, Vermont. Now, when I was looking up these things, they gave me a different location. They gave the Long Trail, but they said it was a different state. And when I looked it up, it came up in Vermont. This is December 1st in 1946. So this is an older one. Paula is 18 years old, a sophomore in Bennington College, was an intelligent and well-liked student. On Sunday, December 1st, 1946, Paula decided to hike a section of the Long Trail. a popular trail running through Vermont. She told her roommate she was going for a walk, but did not mention any specific plans to hike. Dressed lightly for the cold weather, wearing a red coat, jeans, and sneakers, she left campus with no extra clothing or supplies. By midday, Paula was seen leaving campus and hitchhiked, to the trailhead in Woodford Hollow, about 3 miles from Bennington. A local contractor named Lewis Knapp gave her a ride and dropped her off. That afternoon, witnesses reported seeing Paula walking along the trail. A group of hikers saw her heading north, and one older man, Ernest Whitman, claimed she asked him a few questions about the trail and continued on her way. That evening, when Paula failed to return to campus, her roommate assumed she had stayed out later than expected. By the next morning, when Paula missed classes, the concerns grew. A massive search effort ensued involving police, college staff, local volunteers, and even military personnel. Despite extensive searching of the long trail and surrounding areas, no trace of Paula was found. No clothing, no footprints, or any other evidence. The theories are the accidental death theory. Many people believe Paula may have become disoriented, fallen into a ravine, or succumbed to the elements in the dense and treacherous wilderness. However, a lack of physical evidence remains puzzling. Foul play. Some suspect Paula may have met foul play, possibly from someone she encountered on the trail or during her hitchhiking journey. Rumors circulated about a local man who acted suspiciously during the search, but no concrete evidence was ever found. Voluntary disappearance. Others speculate that Paula may have chosen just to disappear intentionally. However, friends and family insist she had no reason to leave and was looking forward to returning home for the holidays. There is a paranormal explanation. Her disappearance is often linked to the Bennington Triangle, an area of southwestern Vermont known for strange occurrences, disappearances, and alleged supernatural activity. Some believe she may have been the victim of an unexplained force or even abduction. And finally, the serial killer connection. Her case is occasionally mentioned alongside other unsolved disappearances in the area, leading to theories of potential serial predator operating at the time. Her case remains one of Vermont's most baffling mysteries. Her disappearance prompted significant changes in Vermont's law enforcement, including the establishment of Vermont State Police, which did not exist at the time.
That's wild. That is wild, man. So what do you think? What's your theory?
I'm going to go with one, foul play, and then two, the serial killer connection.
Yeah. It makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
Girly Bigfoot. That's what I just said. Part of the Bennington Triangle.
That's funny.
It's crazy.
That is funny. Yeah, it's crazy. What a weird world, man. It's such a strange world out there. And there's a lot that we just don't understand. But man, people go missing every day all over this country. But it's just a lot of different things surround them, and there's always going to be questions. But I don't know about you, but the more that I do this show and the more I get into this stuff, I always walk away with way more questions than I have answers. But I don't know, just a strange world. But and guys, like I said, we know that when we talk about these type of encounters and these missing 411 people, man, these are real people that this has affected their families' lives, and it's definitely, something we definitely are very try to be respectful of when we talk about it. But I think it's important that people know, and that, like we said, and we'll say it again, man, if you're going out of the woods, you need to know where you're going, have a plan, have an exit plan, don't go alone. And if you do go, make sure you know who you're going out with, what kind of people they are, be prepared for the weather, check for things like that, and let people know where you're going, and, make sure you're carrying out there too. So it's just some solid advice, because you just never know. But let's see here. I was going to show something else, and I've not seen him on the show tonight, but Harley is done a lot for this community, guys, and he's a great guy, and has sent me and Daniel tons of evidence over this last year. But he was out in an area and he was hiking and he got a picture of a Dogman creature. And so I'm going to show you guys that. I've showed it on the show plenty of times, but let me know what you guys think about this. And you imagine seeing this right before this is the last thing you've seen. How scary would that be, man? Like, you can see it. That's one picture. It's just circled over here so you can kind of see, but you can see the ears, kind of what looks like an eye, nose. I don't know what to make of that picture, man. That thing gives me chills every time I see it. But a lot of stuff out in the woods, man, we just can't explain. But
yeah, the story behind that picture is he was out with his brother-in-law, and they were doing his thing out investigating in an area, and he heard some noises behind him, and he just took 3 quick pictures, snap, 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 and then they turned back around. Because if anybody here has heard of Scott Carpenter, I'm pretty sure everybody has who's in this community or likes about this community. He does what Scott Carpenter used to do. He affixed a camera. What he's using is like an old school iPhone that he attaches to a backpack on his back, and he has it recording as he's walking. And looking back at the pictures that he had taken, that's what he one of the pictures he found was that right there.
Yeah. Whew. Pretty wild. So let's see, Kathy, I think she's a first-time person on the show, wants to know, what are Dogmen? You want to answer that one, Daniel?
Dogmen, well, in my opinion, I believe what my dad says. What my dad said was they're werewolves. To the day my dad passed away, he saw a werewolf when he was in Alaska when he was younger, and to the day, even when he passed away, he believed that they're werewolves. I've never seen one. I heard them and cemeteries go hand in hand. A lot of people believe they are demonic, that they come from a different dimension. They rise up from portals, but they're always, for some reason, attached to a cemetery for one reason or another.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. A lot of stuff out there, and I think they're evil. I don't think that there's anything good about them. I think that they, some people call them hellhounds, fear sniffers. They thrive and live off of fear, and a lot of the encounters, they push people to that point. They don't hurt you. You walk away, but you definitely are scarred from it. But I think that they are definitely not good. You can say what you want about Bigfoot and have opinions, and me and Daniel don't agree with that with what Bigfoot is. But I think I tend to lean on that kind of a mindset. They're definitely more than flesh and blood. But hopefully that answers your question. And John's, good to see you. Somebody from the UK. That's always awesome. So welcome to the Mysteries Unknown, and we're excited to have everybody here in the chat tonight. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this show, and we're going to do our very best to try to jump back into these lives more often. And but before we get off here, man, why don't you plug your channel one more time, man?
Sure. My channel is the Crypted Podcast. The email that you can reach me at if you'd like to send me an email regarding coming on the show, sharing your experience, your encounters, is the Crypted Podcast 72 at gmail.com. The Crypted Podcast 72 at gmail.com. And I'm found on YouTube, and I am also found on Spotify.
Awesome. He's just like this channel, it's a safe place for you guys to come on here and share these encounters, and if you've got something you want to send me or Daniel, I promise it won't go any further than that. And so, just a safe place for you guys to get these encounters off your chest. And, I love having Daniel on the show as my co-host and just building out this community and this tribe that we're building. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that show tonight. I appreciate, again, everybody's prayer for my wife and my family. I'm thankful for all the support. If you want to support this channel, please consider being a member. It helps me to continue to grow and helps us to get these stories out there. And I hope everybody's had a fantastic new year, and everybody's being safe and just enjoyed the podcast. Couldn't do it without you guys. We got, every Monday I've got episode dropping real encounters. So if you've got an encounter you would like to send me, you can send it to me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. But Daniel, you got anything before we jump off here, man?
Oh, we're fixing to leave?
Yeah, we're pushing almost 2 hours, man. Hard to
Oh,
believe.
wow. Man.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting Josh's channel, supporting my channel. I don't know if you did it, but earlier someone asked about your coffee.
Let me play a commercial before we get off here, guys. And thanks for that plug, man. I'll put that out there real quick, but I'll let you finish while I'm looking up the commercials.
So yeah, my channel is growing really rapidly, and I'm very humbled by it, you guys. Again, I'm just some guy that likes to get on here and talk about Bigfoot, share experiences, and I got to have you come on my show, but interview me because I've had a couple people ask me about my encounters, and I've directed them towards you, but I don't know if they've gone over there to view them.
Yeah.
So
we need to do that.
Happen someday.
Yeah, we'll definitely. And just so you know, if anybody's asking, Daniel's my brother, and we are here to help each other and help each other grow. There's no competition between me and him. And you're going to see guests on my channel that are on his, and his channel that are on mine. And so we're just here to get the word out about this stuff and what's going on. But here's a if you want to support this channel, you can do it a couple of ways. You can become a member. You can just subscribe, like, share. But if you like coffee, you can check out our coffee. But check out this commercial that I shot. So, and we'll be right back before we jump off here.
Well, hello there. Didn't see you. Don't mind me. I'm just enjoying my Mysteries Unknown coffee. You know, it's the one thing that makes me feel, well, a bit more human. Rich, bold, and, dare I say, mysteriously delicious. Care for a cup? Get you some at mysteriesunknowncoffee.com.
I like to have fun. So what can I say? What can I say? I do a video production for a living, guys. If I'm not doing Bigfoot stuff, that's what I'm doing. But anyways, love the show tonight. I enjoyed everybody who was here and all the just hanging out with everybody. You guys are awesome. Great community. And like I said, thanks for being here. Check us out, or send me an email at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you've got an encounter and just something you want to share with us, go check out the Crypted podcast. Guys, you know what I'm going to say. I cannot get off here without saying it. It's probably the most important thing we're going to say during this whole live. Stay prayed up, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.